show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on GTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is a big story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. In studio with me is a former Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mr. Jullian Willock. Mr. Willock, it's a pleasure to have you back here. It's been quite some time.
Yes, it's been a year and a half almost since it was last year. So we have to work on reducing that time frame.
Well, I thought that the time is ripe that we have you here because so much has been going on, and your name is in the spin of all what is going on. So I thought, have a word with Mr. Willock for a bit. Okay. But in this moment, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just was reflecting when my name is not ever in the spin. They got news in the big islands, Jullian Willock name.
Well,
that's fine.
Maybe is it a good thing or a bad thing?
A little secret. I'm enjoying it all.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever it be, once you could make fun of it too, while it remains serious or not, it's a good thing. But we want to talk a lot about the political space and atmosphere that we are seeing, and the specific reason why I reached out to you is because I wanted to hear from you directly. There's so much going around about Jullian Willock preparing to run for the District 3 representative seat come 2027, I think. So I wanted to hear from you. I want you to be on the spot to say, are you preparing to run in the next elections?
Well, Kathy, what I'm preparing to do is continue to work in District 3 to help the people of District 3. And I'm so proud now that the district representative has now left the opposition, where he has stayed for over 12 to 13 years and now joined the government. So it will make things easier for District 3 for us to get items. I was chatting with someone last night and telling them that he's also the Minister for Natural Resources and the Environment. And one of my pet peeves have been those boats in the Sickhouse Bay Harbor. So here's a perfect opportunity for the district representative, the Honorable Hon Fraser, who is also our Deputy Premier, to now use his good office to address those things. But it doesn't mean that I will not continue to work in the district. I have said over and over again, there's a million ways in which you can serve your country and your people. Elective office is simply 1 out of 100. There are a lot of organizations in the territory who are doing a lot of good work. They're not elected. There's a lot of captain of industries who are doing a lot of good work. They're not elected. So there's a long laundry list of areas where one can serve the country, and I will continue to help where I can in District 3 and throughout the community.
Going forward to 2027, one of the ways will be you trying to win the seat as district representative to do more?
Well, a lot of dynamics have changed. Remember, I am a supporter of the Virgin Islands Party. Remember, Honorable Fraser has now crossed the floor. While he has not joined the party per se, he's still maintained his Progressive United. He is now with the government. So I think that District 3 is now poised to do and get a lot of the things that I've been having to do. So we have to wait and see. There are 2.5 years left, and I have full confidence that my district representative is in a position now to do the things that he has advocated, whether it's water in the district, cleaning up the Sickhouse Bay Harbor. We need the Ellis Thomas Downs matter resolved, the infrastructure, land issues. So he's in a perfect position now to address all those things. Doesn't mean that I will not continue or job fair. We had a successful job fair last month. Over 200 persons at our job fair. Some of the biggest companies in the territory were there. And I was also thankful for the sponsorship. And I'm pleased to announce this morning that thus far, they reported to me that they have hired 14 persons, 14 persons, and I'm waiting now
from that very
job fair. Okay. And I'm waiting now for the stats from 3 statutory bodies. I'm waiting to hear from the BVI Airport Authority, the BVI Electricity Corporation, and also the college in terms of their hiring as statutory. You know, it's a little bureaucratic when you're dealing with statutory body. They have their 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 interviews and all that stuff. So
which is the company that hired the 14?
It's different companies. For example, we had Scrub Island on hand, Oil Nut Bay, Mosquito Island, Therapy Works, right where Food Market, and again the statutory bodies, BVI Airports Authority, Electricity Corporation, HLS Stout CC, HLS Stout Community College. So amongst those private sector they have hired 14 persons. And I can get the specific distribution for you. But I know once we get the feedback from the statutory body, that 14 will go up. So I just want to thank everyone who came out, especially the companies, and who have continued to call and say next year we're there, we're in, and that means a lot. And I'm doing this not for Jullian Willock. This is to ensure that my people get meaningful employment. And while I am an advocate for the 9 to 5, I also want to encourage my people also to be entrepreneurs. Go get a trade license, start a business, hire people. You know, small business is one of the engine of generating economic development in all countries. So we're proud of the work that we're doing. We had a little setback with our food pantry with the construction of the building, but we will get that resolved. We continue our back to school. We give 3 school, 3 hours, etc. So we're doing a lot of things. But I'm so happy now that the district representative is in a position now where he can do more from a governmental standpoint, because all my activities have been private sector driven. We don't ask the government for anything. We have a long list of sponsors. We have very good relationship with the private sector. I can call any one of these companies at any day and say, do you have a job? I have somebody to hire, and I'm proud of that relationship. So, and it speaks volume of me because they trust me, they trust my integrity, and they trust my ability to organize. But I'm happy now that Honorable Fraser is now in a position from the government standpoint to also, as we'll say on the street, bring up the rear in doing those things. That harbor has to get clean. He has always been an advocate for the infrastructure. He has always been an advocate for water in the district. So he's now in a position to make those things happen. And
that is one of the points I really want us to talk a little bit about, because it makes me a little uncomfortable when we hear that you have to, an elected official has to be in the government side before you get certain major things done for the district that would have elected you. Well, it sends, I know how you put it over as well. It sends a dark picture as if we cannot get past the election phase and move on to governing the country. Once a government is in, it is in for all the people of the country or territory that they are over. So why it is that
Kathy,
unless I'm really passionate about this one.
Let me stop you right there. And I'm not here as a spokesman for the Virgin Islands Party, but I can say from my observation and for being close to many of the ministers in the Virgin Islands Party government, the Virgin Islands Party government has practiced the issue of not leaving any district behind. Before Honorable Fraser crossed the floor, there were going to be money placed in the budget to clean up the Seacoast Bay Harbor. Before Honorable Jullian Fraser crossed the floor, there was plans to resurface the road in the district.
But let me stop you now.
So there has been, there has been ongoing.
Your statement, you said it twice or thrice, is that it's going to, now
but he's in a better position to now be front and center to push those things. Because the opposition, while the Virgin Party have done things in every district. I see community centers being built in the 2nd district. I see activities in Just Van Dyke. I see activities in King Garden Bay. I see activities in Bruce Bay. I see activities going on in the 6th district. Roads, all sort of stuff happening there. Okay. Road cutting. So what I'm simply saying is that the Honorable Fraser is in a better position. It doesn't mean he wasn't getting things while he was on the opposition. He was getting stuff. I remember in 2019, when the Virgin Party got in, one of the first projects was in District 3, the Hannah Hill, and Honorable Fraser was in the opposition. But you're now in a better, and knowing how the Westminster system works, you're now front and center in a better position to push your stuff. Because on the opposition, you can push, but it still comes back to the individual ministers to pay the attention needed to your area.
And that gives credence to my point that I was making.
No, not necessarily. Yes. I think your point is that if you're not with the government, you get nothing.
No, I've never said nothing.
That is not so.
No, I never said nothing, but you get more. So now I'm feeling if you have a unity government where you have less of an opposition and more of a government, you're likely to get more things done.
Here's an example. The Honorable Premier, who is the Minister of Finance, he represents the 7th District. And people in the 7th District complain that he should be doing more for his district. So here he is on the government side, and people are still complaining. Yeah. So, it can go both ways. So my point is, Honorable Fraser is in a better position. It doesn't mean that he wasn't getting anything when he was over there. He's in a better position to get the harbor clean because that's under his ministry. No, not at all. He's in a better position to get his minister, his colleague in cabinet, the Minister Reimer, to help with the infrastructure, to help with the vexing water issues. So it's not a matter of contradiction. You are better poised to push your stuff. It doesn't mean in the opposition. All the opposition members could list a number of things that they have gotten, especially district representative, the 6th district, the 2nd district, the 8th district. The 8th district, they're now building, up in Beef Island? The Welcome Center.
Yeah, but
so I'm just saying.
You're just saying, but you just said the premier, the one who's at the top, his district is crying out that. Deputy premier is going to get more.
I use that as an example to say that your point is not necessarily accurate. Your point was you got to be in the government to get A, B,
it's not my point.
I'm saying that there's some time.
I'm bringing to you what the picture that is created. It's not my point. Okay. I'm very neutral.
Well. Let me reword. The Virgin Party have not left any district behind, and that's a fact. However, with the Honorable Jullian Fraser now holding a ministry where some of the things are directly relevant to his district, he will be in a better position to make those things happen. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
We know that times happen and things occur and minds change. But having looked at that situation where we now have Honorable Fraser with the government crossing the floor, Honorable Fraser was one of the very first to have said that he was going to move motions of no confidence in this government. The very government that he has now crossed the floor, and you are saying you are so sure that he's going to get more done. What is the picture that you would have seen, and what would have caused in your mind that shift?
Well, the issue of motion of no confidence, all governments use, all opposition use the tool of motion of no confidence to challenge government in the Westminster system. That is nothing new. History will recall that when the National Democratic Party was in office, Honorable Foy and Honorable Fraser, they brought motion of no confidence also. So it's just a democratic tool used by the opposition to challenge government. Usually, if you have the majority on the government side, the motion of no confidence fails. In terms of why he crossed. I don't know all the inner workings. I learned about it in the morning when the Premier was to make his announcement like everybody else. But that's politics in the BVI. I think the Premier has addressed that. I saw the former Deputy Premier, Honorable Smith, she has issued a statement. So I think the information on both sides is there. And I think the country is prepared now to move on.
What's your thought on Honorable Smith while she was there as Deputy Premier?
Well, I think Honorable Smith did a very good job. She was, in my humble view, she was very good for the financial services sector, and she did her best. I think it was the Premier who said that there was some issues of confidence over the vote of no confidence. Mm-hmm. So again, that's politics in the Westminster system. And while each member will have their individual thoughts, and those thoughts are to be trashed out in caucus and perhaps in cabinet where it's secret. But at the end of the day, in the Westminster system, there is some sort of obligation to support your leader. And if you reach a point where you can't support your leader, the most honorable thing to do is step away, resign. You know, that's how the system works.
Okay.
But I don't want to get into the back and forth of what led it. I think both of them have spoke articulately on the issue as to what led up to what, and I will leave that there. I would trust their words.
You're a voter and you have your opinion, and I've never known you to be one to shy away from sharing your opinion.
No, it's not a matter, Kathy, it's not a matter of shying away. I'm saying this has been, the two individuals involved have spoke eloquently about the reasoning, and I think the public will, make up their mind, and I will rely on their words.
Do you think this country is in a better shape than it was 3-4 years ago, in terms of especially its infrastructure?
The reality on the ground is tough for most people. But you have to understand that the government took the first, 1.5, 2 years dealing with the imposed COI, those recommendations. And we got set back a lot because that was their focus. They were their backs were against the wall with a gun over their head. Either you do these things or we will take away your freedom. We will take away your constitution. We will recolonize you. And nobody in 2024 wants to be recolonized. So while they were busy working on those things, a lot of things slipped through the crack. Yes, the infrastructure needs help. People in District 3 call every morning. They don't have water, and then they have to, whenever they get it, they got to get up quickly between 6 and 9 and turn on and fill up buckets, and that's not tenable. However,
was that good governance? Because as a government, you're placed there to face tough and natural times. If you are put over a home to manage a home, you're the head of your home, not because you have a financial crisis, your children are going to go hungry. You are going to fix your timing. You're going to strategize in such a way to make sure that one aspect of things and management of your home does not suffer to the pain while you continue to toil to make that money so that you could feed it. You strategize. Is it a situation where the government, and we know it's a very, very young core of people, is it a situation where they were not necessarily experienced enough to handle such a grave situation?
Well, I don't know if the issue is experience. Anyone who can fight off the British, knowing the British history, the British has 200-300 years of this kind of thing, colonialization and oppression and invasion. They're up against 200+ years of history, and for the Virgin Islands Party government under Dr. Wheatley to have at least maintained our democracy, to me, that is a big accomplishment. But now that the COI recommendations have gone and they have implemented what was supposed to be implemented, there's 2.5 years left. Now is the time that we have to say to you, you have no more reason to tell us about COI. You have $100 million loan You're passing a 2025 budget soon. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to get Prospect Reef on the road. Now is the time to fix the infrastructure. Now is the time to do the water. Now is the time for the BVI to shine. Now is the time to help small businesses. So you have everything now set up. And if they do not execute within the next 6 months to a year, then persons will be in a better position to make a judgment come election. They have to execute.
Is that a realistic time frame? The situations, the problems that this territory face have been there for decades. Water situation, sewage. Water and sewage has been one that I've from the time I've gotten into this territory, I've never known this to been at a comfortable stage for the residents.
I totally disagree with you.
How so?
I will say the sewage issue has been consistent and vexing for the past 20 years. Water, and I will say, as a point of privilege, I happen to have been at one point in my career the director of water and sewage. And we have never had all those challenges. We had the Seacobe plant was up and running, the Bargersby plant was up and running. So there was a steady supply of water when I was there. Now some things took place, most of it political. For example, the Seacobe plant is now out of commission. I believe, and I could be wrong, the Bargersby plant also is out of commission. I remember we had a project, the Bywater project, that everybody jumped up against. When in 2011, when the National Democratic Party got in office, if they had fulfilled the obligations under that contract, whereas the obligation was Bywater will provide the water and they will deal with the infrastructure, the pipes, the pumps to get the water distributed. If that was done, we would have been in a better position today. So I blame both parties, the National Democratic Party and the Virgin Islands Party, for the water situation. The Virgin Islands Party got re-elected in 2019. Perhaps Bywater was a bad word in some person's mouth. I think then it was soul, and suddenly it became, it became candy. So it became candy. So you see the politics of the water situation in this country has caused a big setback. If we had stayed on the track, and you could debate whether you like Bywater, local company, this place and this, that. And I know all the facts about Bywater, and I could say that no local company was displaced. None during Bywater, because there was an agreement also for the same local company to continue providing water. So if the government of the day in 2011 had fulfilled its obligation, we would have been better off. But that's looking backwards. We have a chance now, going forward, for the Minister of Communication and Works, the government of the day, to fix the water situation in this territory. It's not tenable, it's not sustainable, and we cannot continue in 2024 for people to say, I got up this morning and there was no water for me to send my kids to school.
But then I want to go back on that point that you made. You give a time frame that you think that things should be looking a whole lot better within 6 months to a year.
Yes.
Is that realistic? Looking at the extent of those situations, especially the infrastructure, water and sewage. Let's stay on water and sewage. Looking at the extent of it, do you really think that it is fair to the government at this stage to say, if you can't get it fixed in 6 months to a year, looking at the system of government in terms of how finances are disbursed, the system of bidding and getting contractors and sourcing all, is a year definitely realistic?
Kathy, if by the fourth quarter of 2025, the people of this country are not seeing action on the ground, then I will be very concerned.
Okay.
And I understand the bureaucracy, and I understand what the politicians are facing. They're facing a bureaucrat that's not always supportive, and the reporting chain sometimes get muddled. I understand all that, but by the fourth quarter of 2025, if we don't see some substantive work on the ground in this country, then we'll have to talk about marching.
Okay, it seems as though we will have to answer that call to have you back for us.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about marching. But you must give the government credit for putting all the mechanism in place. The issue was financing. We have the money now. And I know the whole 100 million will not go to infrastructure. It's all split up for different projects. But at least the government of the day was successful in getting the loan. And now they're on the verge now, and they, as we speak today, November 14, 2024, they are in standing finance committee about the 2025 budget. So we have all the pinnacles of success for this government to repair the damage that has been done, that has been left decades ago. And you could blame both parties. Okay, so they have the tools now to address it. If by the end of 2025, Honorable Premier, Honorable Minister of Communication, Honorable Minister of Natural Resources, Education, Junior Minister, if we don't see substantive action on the ground, then I will be very, very concerned about my party and my government.
No, okay, all right. We're under the tyranny of the clock, but I want you to answer this one in the most concise way that you can. Do you agree with the way in which finances are being spent, especially on entertainment in this territory, by the government?
Well, I don't have a position on it. The Premier, he's the Minister of Finance, he has alerted us that he has an interest in entertainment tourism. And maybe what he needs to do is perhaps explain more the benefits of entertainment tourism. You see, the problem is, and it's unfortunate, that when you see, okay, I am engaging in entertainment tourism, and I'm giving a promoter X amount of money to bring in an artist, and then over here I'm getting up this morning and there's no water. You know, there seems to be a disconnect. But I think what the government needs to do in their messaging, to say that in order for me to fix the water, I need revenues. And entertainment tourism brings in revenue. So the messages and the packages they have to step it up a bit in terms of explaining to the public the link between entertainment tourism and you not having water. Because if you don't have the money to fix your reservoirs, to buy pipes, to commission a new desalination plant, then we're back to zero.
Jullian Willock, I want to thank you so much for your time. Very candid conversation.
Thank you for having me.
I definitely will be calling on you again as things progress, and we hope that we continue to be as candid as we can on this platform.
Yes, and I want to say to all the people who attended the job fair, we are very proud, and we like to thank you, to all our sponsors, to the good people of District 3. And as I said to you earlier, there are 100 ways you can serve your country. Running for elective office is just one. I will continue to serve my committee whether I'm elected or not elected, whether I'm running or not running.
Okay, so we hear you, and we'll be continuing to look. Thank you again. Thank you for the pleasure of your time, for being with us here on this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.